Some of you in here are going to win. And I don't just mean the awards this evening. Some of you are ready to cut loose and do some reprieving because the day job is hard, but now you can let down your guard. You've chosen the toughest there is, giving it all you got to building a biz. The highs are high and the lows are low, but for some reason, you just can't let go. Your tenacity is elite. You rise from every defeat. You're built different. You've got what it takes. You take risks and operate at the high stakes. So tonight, while you dance, just remember, others, they don't stand a chance. You visualize and dream where others are misbelieving, and that's how you'll win more than just the awards this evening. Who is ready for the Hustle Awards 2025? Can you make some noise? Thank you. Oh, love it. Love to hear it. For once, we get to celebrate all you hustling entrepreneurs. So I love Raise the Roof. Love hearing from you all. All right. It is my pleasure to open this evening's ceremony and set the tone for this evening. I'm here to talk to you about basically how awesome I think you all are and maybe how to be a little bit more awesome. Sound good? All right. So my name is Stephanie Melodia, and in addition to building businesses of my own, I have a pretty unique perspective that goes deep on entrepreneurship. Through one of my last businesses, my team and I counted, we worked with over 100 startups in about 6 years. I now mentor MBA students in entrepreneurship, and on my top 20 business show, Strategy and Tragedy, I've now interviewed about 70 founders and counting. All that is to say, I've amassed a vast array of first-hand data points when it comes to one thing, and that's you. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship. How it's fundamentally a human yearning, how it's a toolkit to help us fulfill our potential, how it's the magical combination of freedom and creativity in servitude of a market need, solving real problems for people and adding value into our society. But you all already knew that, so let's crack on. I'm actually going to be talking to you about the power of dreaming big, of passionate pursuits, oi oi, and the non-negotiables that it takes in order to succeed. But first, let me ask you all a quick question. How did you get here today? Like Uber, train, bike? If anyone wants to shout it out, how did you get here? Uber bike, I love it. The two things. This is like the worst GCSE geography questionnaire. How did you get here today? All right, so you actually being here today is wild. You being here is so extraordinary that the chance of you being here right now on this planet in this moment is 1 in a number so big, I cannot even say it because it has 2.7 million zeros in it. That's 1 in a number with 2.7 million zeros. I mean, think about it. That probability is even lower than meeting a nice VC. I'm just kidding. Now look, even if you already knew that the chance of you being alive is absolutely minuscule, I reiterate that statistic to drive home just how phenomenal it is that your parents had unprotected sex a few decades ago. Oh dear. I preface my talk today creating a mental image of your mum and dad in the bedroom to drive home just how crazy it is that you're here today and to make my case for risk-taking and dreaming big. And we really need you entrepreneurs who are taking these huge risks because of everyone in business, whether it's HR, finance, ops, no one would take a risk on something that has a chance of 1 in a number with 2.7 million zeros, but you guys will, and that's why I love you. As entrepreneurs, you place huge bets on seemingly deluded vision sometimes, And honestly, I'm here for it because every unicorn was once someone's delusion that they were laughed out the room for. Now, I don't know if it's like British culture or simply a symptom of the zeitgeist, but I believe it's been wrongly instilled in us to be real. You know, I feel like it's almost like a badge of honor to like be realistic. And look, I'm a down-to-earth Capricorn who's very much a realist. I am not about vacuous motivation, so I do want to keep it real for you guys here tonight, hustlers. But there's one problem with realism. It didn't get us to where we are today. It didn't build unicorns, empires, and the magic that we take for granted on a daily basis. If we stop for a minute and take stock of some of these things around us that someone a long time ago had to dream up first. So I asked you earlier how you got here, and maybe you did get an Uber. If so, that means that you conjured transportation with just a few taps on your phone, and praise the heavens, didn't even need to speak to another human in the process. Maybe you hired a dress for the evening, which meant you could peruse pages and pages of beautiful fashion whilst bed rotting at home in your pajamas. Maybe that's just me, actually. Maybe you use Google Maps to direct you here without having to stop and ask for directions. And what about the lights, the building, the energy that powers all of this? Someone a long time ago had to dream that up first. It was a visionary, it was a dreamer, it was an entrepreneur like you in this room. So, for example, maybe you're making road accidents a thing of the past, thanks to AI and advanced radar technology. Shout out to Arbe Perception Radar. Are you in the house? No. Okay. Well, you better not win tonight because you haven't even shown up for the event. You missed out, guys. You missed out. That was your one claim to fame, your one moment. Maybe you're revolutionizing filtration systems so we can all breathe perfectly clean air. Is Vox Aeris in the house? Woo! Vox Aeris! Well done, well done. Or maybe in a meta kind of way, you're helping other startups to succeed by getting them to product market fit more quickly. Do we have Innodash in the house? No? Okay. All right. You're not winning either. We love them though. It's fine. It's fine. It's really important to set your sights high and dream big. I mean, of course, you wouldn't be here today if you didn't. And you place your bets on these ventures that, sometimes they don't make much sense on paper. In fact, the vast majority of entrepreneurial ventures don't make sense on paper. If we take it from one of my favorites, Rory Sutherland, as he wrote in his best-selling book, Alchemy, no big business idea makes sense at first. I mean, just imagine proposing the following ideas to a group of skeptical investors. What people want is a really cool vacuum cleaner. Dyson. Best of all, the drink has a taste that consumers say they hate. That's Red Bull. And just watch as perfectly sane people pay over $5 for a drink that they can make at home for just a few cents. Starbucks. No sane person would have invested a penny in these schemes. The problem that bedevils organizations once they reach a certain size is that narrow conventional logic is the natural mode of thinking for the risk-averse bureaucrat. And so, gang, I think for showing up here today and taking that leap really deserves a pat on the back and a round of applause. I'll give you a little clap. Yeah, come on, that's like the least you deserve. Honestly, it's the absolute least you deserve. So, I have a great story to share with you all on the power of dreaming big. But first, let me ask you another question. Don't worry, it's not going to be another GCSE geography questionnaire, but it is equally random, just a heads up. Who here would like their customer to be Kim Kardashian? Okay. Show of hands. One of you at least, okay. How many of you, oh, that really created a kerfuffle. How many of you would like Angelina Jolie to invest in your business? Okay, few more. And how many of you are exceeding so wildly at what you do that you're completely redefining your entire category? One of the reasons I love what I do is because I get to work with people who think differently, who think big, and who have got the audacity to chase after those dreams. So, this story. There was once this young woman in Australia who was pretty much a nobody without being too unkind, right? But she had no wealthy family, no connections, but still, she had an entrepreneurial itch and wanted to set out with her first venture. She had a big dream and a small budget, which I'm sure some of you in here at least can probably relate to. Her name is Olivia. She hustled hard, got her business off the ground, and realized that maybe all that time, energy, and effort could actually be put towards something even greater. So she went at it again, this time in silk bedding, silk pillowcases specifically. And this was way before all the rage now, where they're available in any online shop or department store. In fact, this was exactly 10 years ago in July of 2015. Now, silk pillowcase meant that her target customers, women who are interested in beauty and self-care. Her dream customers, the Kardashians. Remember at this point in the story, this Olivia is pretty much a nobody, okay? But like, why not? Kim Kardashian's a person. She sleeps. Why wouldn't she want to rest her head on this premium silk pillowcase? So this Olivia, and again, totally true story, she flies from Melbourne to LAX to hand deliver a package containing some samples of her product and a handwritten note. She thinks it's going to make much more of an impression. She doesn't want a chance sending it in the post and risking something that they might never see. And to be honest with you, Olivia kind of sounds like my kind of girl. I feel like she's living for the plot a little bit here too. By the way, Sarah Blakely of Spanx fame did something similar with Oprah Winfrey back in the day as well. So this Olivia, she makes her way to Kardashianville. Unbeknownst to her at the time, she's making her way to OG momager Kris Jenner's house. The star of the family, Kim, and her husband at the time, Kanye West, are staying at Kris Jenner's house while their home is being renovated. Olivia's got no clue. She turns up at these pearly gates of Kardashianville in Calabasas. She is at the foothills of this private gated community when, out of nowhere, all of a sudden, a UPS driver turns up. They press the doorbell, the gates open, she follows him in, and drops off the package. Fast forward a few weeks, and not only does Kris Jenner love her products, but Kim Kardashian features them in an online giveaway, and sister Kourtney includes them in gift boxes to promote her new e-commerce platform, Poosh, sent to the likes of Miley Cyrus, Serena Williams, and Bella Hadid. This silk pillowcase brand by an unknown Aussie girl is now worth over $50 million. Now, yes, I'm sure luck was definitely in the mix here, and maybe that UPS driver was a guardian angel sent from heaven. I'm already hearing all the skeptics and the haters, to whom I say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Now, that's one of my favorite stories, not only for all the Kardashian references, but because why the hell not? And let me ask you a better question. What if the crazier we dream, the more competitive edge we have? Because, hear me out for a sec, how many of you are actually pitching to Kim Kardashian? Or how many of you are pitching to Angelina Jolie? Or how many of you are redefining your entire category? Now, I'm told the Kardashian story, so I'll quickly touch on those two others. Angelina Jolie actively invests through her fashion initiative called Atelier Jolie. And what kind of motivational speech would this be without mentioning the one and only Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, except he didn't just play the game, he changed the rules. He became a blueprint for celebrity athletes who transcend the sport they play. My point is, these aren't just wild dreams. These things have actually happened. I mean, it always seems crazy until it's done, right? And maybe that's where the opportunity lies. You know, the whole go the extra mile because it's never crowded there. I believe that's true. And I also believe that this room can put that on steroids. The other thing is, just how much more exciting is it to dream bigger? You know, not just for you, but for your teams as well. I mean, that's why we have things like a moonshot goal or a BHAG to get us excited about taking tomorrow into our own hands and designing it the way that we want to, reminding ourselves that we have that choice and reclaiming that power, reminding and reclaiming, because who wants to file some paperwork or who wants to go down in history for changing the world? The problem is, I genuinely believe that we don't have enough conversations like this. I believe that even when we dare voicing some of our crazy ideas, that more often than not, it's the crazy that people cling to and not the ideas themselves. But what non-believers outside of this room fail to understand is that calling a dream crazy is not an insult, it's a compliment. So here's the encouragement. Too often we're told to be real, when instead we should do the opposite and dream crazier, think bigger, act bolder. Because even if you don't hit every wild goal, the pursuit will take you further than you thought possible. And at the very least, it'll make for one hell of a story one day. So whatever you're working on at the moment, I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to develop an allergic reaction to the phrase be real, and instead ask yourself if you're dreaming crazy enough. And sure, it's not easy, but what easy was ever worth striving for? Now, as a true Capricorn, I have a case to make in defensible strivers. Of course, dreaming big is not enough. And I don't think that there's a better crowd of hustlers who better understand the value of hard work than this room right here. I mean, show of hands, who here got less than 8 hours sleep last night? Okay, quite a few of you. Less than 6 hours? Dare I even ask 4 hours? Okay, I'm glad to see not too many hands are still up for that one. Now, I'm the first person to preach the importance of self-care and looking after the fundamentals. Believe me, bossing it culture is a hyper-masculine, fast-track recipe for burnout. In fact, quick story, I knew an entrepreneur once who took the mantra of work hard, play hard to the extreme. They work without a break. They filled their body with toxins. They'd go out partying every night, and they'd be lucky if they got more than a few hours sleep. A real Wolf of Wall Street kind of image, right? They're now blind in one eye. Another entrepreneur is now addicted to pills. Another has developed a chronic, irreversible illness. And on my show, Strategy and Tragedy, I always end with the same traditional closing question to my guests, which is, what's one tragedy that's taught you an unforgettable lesson? Would anyone care to guess the most common answer to that question? There's mutters in the background, but not taking enough care of yourselves, not taking better care of yourselves as entrepreneurs. So, not to put a downer on things, but this is just a necessary caveat to my next case here on striving. What I'm currently obsessed with is the return of the try hard. The pursuit of excellence in striving to make those crazy dreams happen. I'm even going as far as placing my bets on this as the next trend, as an antidote to all the silly quiet quitting BS. And we've already seen this with the holy airball trend on social media, where people show how they wildly exceed others, undermining them. And the key difference is, of course, is what's worth striving for. So maybe you have a strong, clear mission that you're working towards with your company, like perhaps minimizing food waste. Do we have any feast in the house tonight? Woo, we've got any feast, woo, woo. Maybe you want out of corporate life and you realize life is too short to be answering to the man and it's time to call your own shots on your own terms. Or maybe you want to make a fuckload of money transcend your family's economic class, and pay it forward once you've made your millions. I mean, what temerity. Some of the world's hottest artists right now are leading the charge on this try-hard movement, and I cannot get enough. Like Doechii, the Grammy award-winning artist and only the third woman ever to win Best Rap Album. She said in a recent interview, "I'm hungry, I want to be the best. If I have 2 days, if I have 24 hours, I'm going to work the hardest to give my best performance because I want to be the best, period." And Timothée Chalamet, his SAG Awards acceptance speech was such a powerful moment. He said, "I know people don't usually talk like this, but really I'm in pursuit of greatness." This was a clear statement that I've worked for this. I deserve to be rewarded and I want more. Hustlers, this is how I want you to be treating the awards here tonight. These artists are unashamedly singular in pursuit of their craft, striving to be better in pursuit of excellence. Now, I know this goes against the whole lean startup model of test, learn, feedback, iterate, and I'm not going against that, especially in early stage startup land. I'm simply cheerleading us as individuals to strive for more, because I believe entrepreneurship is the best toolkit a capitalist society has given us to fulfill our potential and to scale impact. As one of my favorite interviewees on my show, Rambit Aurora of One Day said, "I will win through sheer effort. I will see you at the finish line." We strivers understand this because we've never been able to achieve great success without putting in that effort. It's also meant to be hard, by the way. Of course, for one, if it were easy, I mean, we'd all be doing it. But for two, it goes back to what I said before. What easy was worth striving for? Whether you find inspiration in these hot Gen Z artists, in athletes, actors, or other entrepreneurs that you look up to, my message to you is this: be try hard. Work in seasons. Sometimes you need to rest and recharge. Sometimes you do need to put in the work. Don't burn out in the process, but take pride in being in pursuit of excellence. Now, what else do we need? We've got dreaming big, striving for it, and working hard to make those big dreams happen. We've got 2 more ingredients for success, R&R. And no, sadly, I don't mean that kind of R&R. I'm talking about risk and resilience. So, on risk, I have another true story for you. Earlier this year, I got to travel to Stockholm and meet with one of the early investors in Sweden's most successful tech companies. Hint, they're in the music industry and their name rhymes with Spotify. This company is so tremendously successful, if you haven't already figured out who they are yet, that they surpassed the categorization of unicorn, which is a company valuation of $1 billion. They even surpassed decacorn status, 10 billion, and is today classed as a hectacorn, over $100 billion, all started by one person. So of course, I had to ask this investor, what's this founder like? Like, what does it really take to be the entrepreneur who ultimately builds a hectacorn? And she said, they have a strong work ethic for sure, and they can run circles around the best of us. But what really sets them apart from the rest is their risk tolerance. Being able to stomach these high pressure situations is what it's about. She said that for them, what it comes down to, the chance of success far outweighs the risk of failure. She recounted a particularly stressful situation where one of the world's biggest record labels with artist rights, including Madonna, Dua Lipa, Frank Sinatra, threatened to pull their entire music category, meaning total collapse of the Swedish tech giant. And the founders just let them sweat it out while they slept on it. A situation where 99.999% of us would have folded pretty quickly. Now, we don't all need quite that level of risk tolerance or even need to be hectacorn founders. But all those cliches of he who dares wins and no risk, no glory, no failure, no story, like they're all cliches for a reason. We take, for example, Lottie White of MyoMaster, who said on my show, everything good that has happened in our lives is because we've taken a risk. It's because we've taken a leap of faith. And since writing this speech, Lottie White's company has since been listed in the Sunday Times top 100 fastest growing companies. And then conversely, of course, on the other side of that risk tolerance is fear. Now, you might recognize this other guest I also had on my show, Simon Squibb, who recounted a particular story where he once offered someone 50K to make their dreams happen, and they were so scared that they turned it down, which makes me wonder how much potential lies on the other side of fear. Now, back to this Swedish hexacorn founder. He came from humble beginnings. He lived in a small apartment with his mum as a university dropout. And sure, he's a white guy in tech. But success stories like these completely outshine the meaning of survivorship bias, because just how many people could survive against this risk-tolerant titan? His market cap is now estimated at $127 billion. So, not all risk takers are winners, but all winners are definitely risk takers. My final ingredient for success. So we've covered dreaming big, aiming high, working hard to make those crazy dreams happen, putting in the effort in pursuit of excellence, and taking bold risks to win big. All that's left is to keep going. The resilience required for success is huge, as I'm sure you all already know, and it's a non-negotiable. I mean, take it from me, a millennial who's entering her 4th recession in a lifetime, who started her career from a desert island and built an award-winning business amidst multiple Black Swan events. And with social media breeding comparisonitis today, thinking everyone else is doing so much better than you, I think it's more important today, now more than ever, to talk about the subject of resilience. Because I don't know about you, but I've definitely been a victim of that green-eyed monster rearing its head at someone else's LinkedIn humble brags. Is that just me? Maybe that's just me. See, the problem is we only see this narrow slither of someone's lives, which are invariably something positive, like a celebration, an achievement, some sort of success, which is fantastic. But the problem is that we extrapolate out that narrow slither out to the rest of the big picture. And we think that that's the full story, when of course, it couldn't be further from the truth. And so I want to put things back into perspective for you all. You'll all know at least some of these famous successful examples on this next slide. Oh, not that one. Taylor Swift in the music industry. In her career, she has produced 274 songs, of which only 59 have become top 10 hits, giving her a success rate of just over 20%. Babe Ruth, the legendary baseball player, in his career had just under 8,400 swings, of which only 714 were home runs, giving him a success rate of less than 10%, 8.5%. And Pablo Picasso, over in the arts, in his lifetime produced over 150,000 pieces of art, of which just over 1,000 became masterpieces, giving Picasso a rate of success of less than 1%. So the point is most of their output is not popular, but much like an iceberg, we don't see what's beneath that surface there. We don't see that vast majority that isn't a hit. And this is again how social media is very similar here. We only see that tip of the iceberg, and the algorithm has skewed our perception so much of what it actually means to be resilient, that this is a much needed reminder to you all of what it actually takes to stay in the game. So whilst they had these low success rates, they kept going. A few more examples I'd love to share with you. Greta Gerwig, the 3 times Oscar-nominated film director of Barbie, which was 2023's highest grossing film and Warner Brothers' biggest global release in history. Can you believe she was rejected by every single grad school she applied to? J.K. Rowling, the infamous author of Harry Potter, which has now sold over 500 million copies in 82 languages worldwide, was turned down by 12 publishers until the 13th one came along and took a bet on her. More in our tech entrepreneurial space, Brian Chesky, founder of Airbnb, which is today also a hectacorn, was hilariously rejected by multiple VCs at the start of his journey. And you can see some of these screenshots of real emails he received, which is just laughable today. And one of our own homegrown entrepreneurs, Rob Law, the founder of children's suitcase brand Tronky, was ridiculed on national TV, where he was quite literally pulled apart by dragon Theopophetus, but he bounced back, came back stronger than ever, went on to sell 5 million suitcases and sold his business in a deal thought to be worth over £12 million. So just imagine if any of them had given up at that first, second, third, fourth, fifth rejection. And for anyone thinking, these are famous examples you've used here, this is survivorship bias. I mean, sure, they're famous now, but there was a point when they weren't. There was a point where they'd entered in for an award hoping to get some recognition. And look, I know that some groups definitely have to work twice as hard to get half as far. But then, do we want to assume victimhood and dwell on those setbacks, or choose instead to pick ourselves back up again and prove everyone wrong? The numbers speak for themselves. Powerful research by Forbes, analysed by Prof G Media, has demonstrated that your chance of success is actually proven to increase with every new attempt. So as you can see on screen here, after the first attempt or failure, your chance of success increases by 10%. Try again, and that number almost doubles to 19%. Keep steadily increasing all the way up to 65%. 65%, that means that you are more than 1.5 times more likely to succeed after your 10th attempt. There's a mental reframe that's needed here. We need to accept that these rejections, these failures, these setbacks, they are all simply part of that squiggly journey. We all fail. We just need to make sure that we're failing forwards. So with this mental reframe in mind, let me ask you, did Greta Gerwig fail getting into grad school? Yeah, she did. Did J.K. Rowling fail getting her book published? Yeah, the first 12 times. Did Brian Chesky fail securing investment for his startup? Yeah, to begin with. And Rob Law, again, was ridiculed on national TV, but he bounced back and came back stronger than before. So something I want you all to sit with. If you were destined for success, if you knew you were guaranteed to get a yes at the end, that every no is simply getting you closer to that yes, how much faster would you want to cycle through those no's? This is particularly relevant if any of you are fundraising, by the way. However many pitches you may have done to date, you might want to consider upping the ante, just saying. So before I wrap, I want you all to do me something. To those of you who win an award tonight, celebrate, enjoy, bask in your glory, because entrepreneurship is tough. Believe me, I know. There are more hard times than good. So this is where it's so important to make sure that you're celebrating those wins along the way. But that's not all I want you to do. I want you to win more than just the awards. I want you to win the long game. And part of how you'll do that is by using the awards tonight as fuel to your fire. The award is evidence to you that you are already a success and that you are going to win even bigger in the long game. In fact, quick one on overcoming imposter syndrome. You know all those self-confidence tips and tricks like saying morning affirmations in the mirror or listening to hype tracks? Well, those are all great, but the single most effective way to build your self-confidence is this. Give yourself enough irrefutable evidence that you can do this. So again, if you do win tonight, I want that award to mean that to you, that you are already a success and that you are going to win even bigger in the long game. To those of you who won't win, what I'm about to say is so real and so unsugar-coated that I really want this to sink in. You know all those typical niceties that presenters always say as condolences before presenting the awards? Like, the quality was so high and such a tough choice. You're all winners, really. Here's the honest truth, I swear. I have personally been directly involved in these awards as a judge for the past 3 years running. Here's the proof, and also an opportunity for me to show you the cute outfits that I wore to previous years. That's why I can say with utter conviction that the quality of the entries is indeed so high that all of you shortlisted finalists in here are indeed truly winners. Not only that, there's more. It gets better. I want to let you in on a little secret. Nothing motivates entrepreneurs more than revenge. So, whilst the winners are busy celebrating, I want you to channel your energy into seeing them again at the finish line and re-enter for the awards next year. In sum, the world needs visionary dreamers to create what will become a reality tomorrow. Next time someone tells you to be real, I want you to swat it away like you're allergic to it. Be try hard, put in the work. Whilst everyone else is letting go, be in pursuit of excellence. Risk and resilience are the most important, non-negotiable characteristics for success. And remember, it's supposed to be difficult. Be delusional, be obsessive, be brave, be crazy, dream big, aim high, take risk, execute, pick yourself back up. And whether you win or lose tonight, use it to your advantage. Winners, celebrate and bask in your glory. Losers, let that serve as more fuel to your fire and see them again at the finish line. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all again at the finish line.